Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of March 7th, 2021. I'm Caleb Black, Luke the Big Dog Williams, along with our in-studio producer, the Mighty Max Fury, and this video is a tribute to the life, times, and career of the one and only Paul Bearer. As we mentioned earlier in the week, you saw the video. Paul Bearer's birthday was on March 5th. We are also coming up on the date of his passing in April.
No, opposite.
Oh, I'm sorry. The date of his passing was March 5th.
Yes.
His birthday is coming up in April.
April 10th.
So we decided to do a deep dive on Paul Bearer's career, talk a little bit about the man behind the mystery, and all of the shenanigans that he was responsible for in the wrestling locker room, which were numerous
Fantastic.
and many. Luke, take it away.
Yes, William Moody is the man's real name. Got his first step into fame was as the manager Percival Pringle III. Basically playing the pompous rich kid. Which, if you've ever seen any of his stuff as Percival Pringle, or Percy as they shortened it, it's legendary. Yeah. It's like a cross between classy Freddie Blassie and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
Like, it's fantastic. Big, fancy glasses, and fantastic. Anyway, but this, I don't want to stray too long on that because most people know him as Paul Bearer. And that's basically what we're going to talk about. That was the lion's share of his career. Paul Bearer debuted in February 1991 on the Brother Love Show as the replacement for the $1 Million Man, who at the time was managing The Undertaker. Paul Bearer and The Undertaker, of course, would go on to be synonymous with each other for the rest of their careers. Paul Bearer is one of the most iconic managers, iconic gimmicks in professional wrestling, second only to The Undertaker.
Yeah.
When you think The Undertaker, you think Paul Bearer. I don't care. You don't think The $1 Million Man. You don't think Brother Love. You think Paul Bearer.
And you have to remember, too, he resonates not only with Undertaker, but obviously with Kane.
Yes.
Him being such an integral part of their storyline as sort of the voice for Kane, and being able to be the guy in the position to actually tell you the story of their childhood and what brings them to this moment. He, vocally being able to do that was so important to that feud.
Yeah. Well, you know, and to come back a ways, Paul Bearer was, like I said, he was so over with The Undertaker. They were such fan favorites. Yeah. That they did the gimmick when The Undertaker was beaten up by Yokozuna and disappeared. Mm-hmm. He was the one that brought the big urn out at SummerSlam to fight the fake
Undertaker. Yeah,
bringing back The Undertaker was huge. He's the only man in that position as a manager who I also seen become one of the most hated people in professional wrestling. It's SummerSlam '96 when they had the Boiler Room Brawl, and Mick Foley, or Mankind, and The Undertaker have this boiler room brawl where the only way you can win is to go from the boiler room to the middle of the ring and take the urn from Paul Bearer.
Yep.
Undertaker and them fight this whole time. They get out to the ring. Foley takes the Pepsi plunge to the outside. Undertaker gets in the ring and he's on his knees and he reaches up to Paul Bearer for the urn. And Paul Bearer does one of these numbers with it. And everyone in the crowd got quiet. They were like, what on earth are we... Mick Foley, of course, hits The Undertaker in the back. He fucks off Foley. He goes to reach back up for the urn, and Paul Bearer takes it and just drives it into The Undertaker's head, becoming the biggest heel in the company in a matter of seconds. And it was it was like, as a wrestling fan.
Yeah. It's like it broke your heart.
I was like, what now?
Yeah.
Like, Paul Bearer is not going to be with The Undertaker?
Yeah, what are they going to do with him?
Yeah. It was like a Bambi's mom moment. That's exactly what it was. It was like, what? Nothing in the world seems right anymore, you know?
I just want to, crawl into bed, go to sleep, and never wake up.
And then, like you said, after the heel turn, and you bring in the redheaded Paul Bearer face.
That's right.
Big Paul Bearer.
Big ginger Paul Bearer.
Yeah. And you do the Kane gimmick. He goes away for a little while. He had a battle with his weight.
Yeah. He was off TV for several years.
He didn't want to be on TV anymore. He was embarrassed by the way that he was looking. His wife was terminally ill.
Yeah.
He wanted to be at home with her. And he did. He went home with her and stayed by her side till she passed away. Of course, getting a phone call shortly after that was like, Mark really wants you at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
He wants Paul Bearer to walk out the Undertaker.
Yeah, when he returns
after the American Badass.
After Kane had buried him alive.
Undertaker, in no certain terms, told Vince McMahon, no Paul Bearer, no Undertaker.
No.
That's how that is.
Just using his clout to make sure Vince McMahon got Paul Bearer to the show.
He convinced Paul Bearer to come back to do that one-off.
Yeah.
That's all it was a one-off. He stayed around for a couple weeks.
Yeah, he'd do something here and there.
Again, left when they buried him in cement, which was another just insane gimmick to me. When that was the last time we basically seen Paul Bearer on WWE programming, with him dying shortly, about a year or two after that. One of the things I remember the most about Paul Bearer, it's strange, is he's tied up in the who did it? Was it Stone Cold? Or somebody tied him up in the freezer to the chair?
Yeah.
Kane.
Yeah, it was
Kane did. Trying to get at the Undertaker, he tied him up and put him in the freezer, and they pushed him down the stairs. It was so hokey, but it was so entertaining.
Yeah. He also, you have to remember, he was early on, as Percy Pringle, was in the era of where managers were, there were a few of them, but not all of them were as quality as Percy Pringle, the Jim Cornettes, the Jimmy Harts. So it really stands out. And then if you look at like Sinister Minister's body of work, James Mitchell's gone on record and says he borrows a lot of how he handled Abyss and TNA from.
Well, when you see, he doesn't even really have to explain it, because when you see that, I always immediately thought, well, that's Kane. That's Kane and Paul Bearer. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and the thing is if anyone did it justice, it was James Mitchell.
And then, of course, the feud with Undertaker and Punk, where Paul Heyman comes out dressed as Paul Bearer in bad taste. But man, even then, because by then we were acclimated to what was really going on. Right. But even then, as a fan, you were like, I really hope the Undertaker beats the fuck out of CM Punk.
And the thing is they had talked about it. Punk had talked about it in an interview not too long ago that I read. That he was like, first off, it was kitty litter that was in the urn. Yeah. But he said when the idea was brought up and he started to pour it on himself and on the Undertaker, he said the only thought in my mind was, this is really fucked up. This is really fucked up.
Really fucked up.
I cannot believe that we're doing this.
That's what we're doing, buddy.
But it got the heat that was needed.
Yep.
One thing that I do have to talk about, and that's Paul Bearer, just happened recently in November. When the Undertaker retired and they did the
hologram
of Paul Bearer with the urn and him doing the reach to it, I cried like a fucking baby. Yeah. It was one of the most touching and just exits. And to not have featured Paul Bearer in some form or another
would have been an insult.
Would have been an insult to the man's life. Paul Bearer, by far, one of the greatest character actors. I'm going to say character actors in professional wrestling history.
I completely agree. Also, in the real world, notorious prankster.
Oh my God!
Pulled so many. Okay, so the Undertaker has an aversion to cucumbers. Percy Pringle would occasionally take a cucumber and stick it in Taker's bag, which, first of all, you'd have to know that Taker really loved Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole lot of, I really don't want to piss this guy off.
Even worse than that, he would get Undertaker's whiskey drinking glass.
Oh, yeah.
And put a slice of cucumber under his ice. Yeah. So when he was drinking his whiskey, when it got to the bottom, there was the cucumber staring the Undertaker in the face.
And he pulled so many ribs on so many wrestlers. Him and Fuji. Him and Fuji were
I think are the top.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he also, I believe, he was the one that shit in Lawler's crown.
Could have been.
Raw, if I'm not mistaken. He had left his crown back in the locker room, and he took a shit in Jerry Lawler's crown. Fantastic.
That's so good.
Fantastic.
That's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this video. We hope you enjoy our tribute to Paul Bearer.
I'm going to think and laugh about that all day.
We're going to close on that note.
So good.
Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. Thank you for your contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in with us this week. Thank you for staying with us while we were off all these last. We've had a lot of scheduling issues these past couple months, health issues, work stuff. So thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Signing off, I'm Caleb Black, Luke the Big Dog Williams, our in-studio producer, the Mighty Max Fury, and as always, keep it in the ring.